Aileen and I and the Kleiner partners were here because we have a deep awe, genuine awe for the power of entrepreneurs. A couple of my partners have been entrepreneurs, and I've tried to start one or two companies in my own career. But entrepreneurs are clearly to be revered. They're the provocateurs, they're the risk takers. They are those in our society, women and men, who focus on really getting great, big, rapid, scalable change. And by definition, an entrepreneur does more than anyone thinks possible with less than anyone thinks possible in whatever field they're working in. And importantly, at least for my values and those of my partners, entrepreneurs are not mercenaries. They're missionaries. Have you read Randy Komisar's book, The Monk in the Riddle? I know he's been a guest from time to time. Anybody read that book? He talks about Lenny and funerals.com. And one of the first concepts that is introduced by Randy is the difference between drive and paranoia, which would be a characteristic of a mercenary, and passion, which is the characteristic of the missionary. More differences between the mercenaries and the missionaries. Well, the mercenaries are opportunistic, always interested in the pitch and the deal, and they're kind of sprinting for the short run, as opposed to the missionaries, who are much more strategic. They're focused on the really big idea and forming a partnership that will last. And they know that this business of innovating is something that takes a long time. They look at it more as a marathon. The missionaries obsess on the competition. They create a kind of aristocracy of the founders. They're not inclusive of the rest of a team. And they're really driven by their financial statements, as opposed to their mission and values statements, for example, or obsessing on the customers. I won't read all of this slide to you, but I think it's the difference between an attitude of entitlement and an attitude of contribution. It was not very many years ago during the boom when a Fortune reporter interviewed a graduate, second-year student, I think, at the Stanford Business School, and he said he felt his career would be a failure if in 3 years he hadn't made $5 million on his startup. And well over half the plan was writing the business plans for half the class was writing the business plans for their new ventures. I think writing the plans for the new ventures is fine, but to be sure, if you wouldn't take on an opportunity or a mission, if the reason you're taking on a mission or an opportunity is for the money you'll make, I believe you'll fail. You should find your passion, find that mission, and take it on, even if no one paid you anything for it, because then you and your team will be motivated to succeed. Somebody asked me the question, well, what satisfied you the most in your life? And I want to get to that in a second. But I do think the difference between a mercenary and a missionary is the difference between someone who's living the deferred life plan, i.e., I'll put off until the future having a full life, and the whole life plan, one that works. There's a difference between the lust for making money and, to be sure, the interest in making money, but really at the final accounting, a lust for making meaning out of your work.